Hi there, you're watching Time Warner Cable's local edition. This is the Sacramento Report. I'm Jaime Garza, and with me is Senator Alex Padilla. Good to have you as always, Alex.
Jaime, good to be back.
We're going to talk about English learners today in terms of trying to assess the best way to help these young people learn English and move forward. And you're working on some legislation that might change the way we look at evaluating English learners, correct?
Right, and let me start with describing why or explaining how this is so important for the state of California. It turns out that in our public schools in the state, nearly 1 in 4 students is considered an English learner, someone who's not proficient in English to their age or to their grade level. 1 in 4 students, that's 1.5 million. And unless or until we start doing better by educating the English learner population, I don't think we'll achieve any of the statewide goals that we have, whether it's the standardized test levels, whether it's graduation rates, or anything else. So 1 in 4 students are in classes that are designed to try to bring them up to levels of proficiency.
I mean, when you talk about
have an annual standardized test to kind of measure what they do. So I have a simple bill that says we're going to administer this test in the springtime, not in the fall. We're going to do it the way most other states in the country do, to get a better, more accurate assessment of how we're doing.
And a lot of people, when they hear this type of progress or movement, we're thinking just Spanish speakers. But from my understanding, the Los Angeles Unified School District, they speak over 100 different languages in that one unified school district. And we're talking about you're saying 1 in 4?
1 in 4 students across the country.
So that would make sense at LAUSD alone.
And in the Los Angeles Unified School District, it's about 1 in 3. And on a national level, about 1 in 3 English learner students in the country lives in California. And half of those in the LA Unified School District. So our stakes are high, and it's not just Spanish language. It's students coming from all over the world, the Asian countries, but really all over the world. So one part is to test in the springtime, along with the other standardized tests. How do you test a second grader, a 5th grader, and an 8th grader the first week of the 2nd, the 5th, or the 8th grade? You're not going to get an accurate picture, nor is it fair to the student. There's some funding issues that go along with it that we're trying to rework also. School districts and individual campuses get an incremental amount in their budget for these particular students because they need additional help, whether it's teaching, materials, etc. We want to make sure that's also not providing a fiscal disincentive for the students who are at levels of proficiency to move on into mainstream classes.
So you get some perks in all of this, but at the same time, when we're talking about tough budget times, some people may say, well, what's it going to cost in order to implement such a program? Is it just simply moving the testing from the beginning of the year to the end of the year, or is there other things involved?
Well, as the bill itself says, let's move the test from the fall to the spring to get a more accurate picture of how students are doing. But it's just scratching the surface on the amount of reforms and changes that need to take place in how we teach English learners. This is just the beginning. There's got to be some curriculum review because these English learner students, whether in elementary school or in high school or anywhere in between, it's not just learning English. They still have to keep up with the math, the sciences, the history, etc. But we don't do well doing that in languages other than English. And so students are falling further and further behind. When we talk about college going rates or even graduation rates from high school, as long as students are in an English learner program, they're not even eligible to be taking the classes or have scheduling conflicts with the classes they need to be eligible to go to the CSU. The other thing to keep in mind when it comes to English learners is that the majority of English learners are U.S.-born students. It's not just immigrants. So it's an evolving population with a lot of issues, but it's increasingly on our radar.
And they are a future leader, so we need to make sure they're prepared.
They're the future workforce, absolutely.
Senator, thank you so much, and thank you at home for watching Time Warner Cable's local edition. This has been the Sacramento Report.